It's great to be with you all this afternoon for this special briefing. We'll be dealing with several topics but not really discussing any of them.
That's pretty typical for you. But I must say, it has worked well for you in the past. In fact, why don't we deal with the adult ministries at Johnson Ferry?
That sounds perfect. I do believe they are probably the strongest link in the team. One way to measure that is to realize that they invited us to talk about them in this cheesy video instead of taxing the already overworked media staff. I mean, how do our video guys get any work done with all of the other ministries constantly asking them to make movies for these staff presentations?
I have no idea. Those guys work so hard, and they do ministry with excellence.
Speaking of excellence, have you seen the way that Barak Johnson has been able to draw newlywed couples into the church through his marriage prep workshops?
He is a sight, that one.
Or the way he can pull together all the minute details of a couple's retreat?
I believe you're referring to Elizabeth O'Brien.
Whatever. Either way, those two can create a way for fathers and daughters to dance the night away.
Yes, they do a fine job. Whether it's posting resources on their blog or bringing in guest speakers, they make good things happen for families.
Speaking of speakers, what about Thomas Nelson?
Who?
Thomas Nelson.
Oh, right. Him. Yes, he's a good fellow. Awkwardly endearing, I hear.
He has proven effective at ministering to college students who are attending local universities, as well as staying connected with Johnson Ferry students who attend schools throughout the Southeast.
What about older singles in the Johnson Ferry community?
Thomas ministers to them, as well. The brightest part of his day is when he gets a call from a single mom in her mid-50s who wants him to reach out to her single son, who is 32, and lives in her basement, who may or may not have any interest in attending church.
That sounds like an exciting part of kingdom work.
Yes, it certainly is. And Casey Murphy is always working on Facebook events and meeting with students and cleaning up after Thomas.
Do you think she'd go out with me?
Perhaps. If not, I'm sure Outreach would give you a call.
Let's move on and discuss the ministries that Peggy Fulgham leads.
Ah, yes. The Laugh Ministry.
The what?
Laugh.
Okay. Bah ha ha ha.
No. The Laugh Ministry. LAF. It stands for Life After 50s.
Oh, you mean the ministry to senior adults?
We call them boomer builders around here.
That sounds much nicer than old people.
Or the Blue Hair Brigade.
Or Geezers for Jesus.
Yes. These are the Johnson Ferry people who are too old for Barak's ministry, but not quite to the place where Art Wilder is standing at the foot of their hospital bed with all their loved ones close by.
That sounds like a pretty big group.
Yes, well, Peggy and her amazing assistant, Nancy Ennis, provide these folks with a great selection of mission trips, Bible studies, fun outings, and ministry opportunities.
You're exactly right. Just recently, I saw a flyer for next year's bus trip for the annual Branson Fall Leaves Christmas Lights Choir Festival and Lee Greenwood Patriotic Extravaganza.
That event is always a winner.
Do you think they would start a ministry for an 80-year-old Jewish retired broadcaster who has been married 8 times?
I'm sure they would give it prayerful consideration. Finally, let's talk about the big kahuna.
Ah, yes. Dr. Herring, adult minister, teaching pastor, and special assistant to the president of the Southern Baptist Convention.
I have a question about Mr. Herring.
You mean Dr. Herring?
Whatever. John seems to lead and supervise so many ministries, but yet his office is always so neat and clean. It's like a museum in there. Does he ever do any actual work?
He does plenty. But my theory is that his office is like Wayne Manor in the Batman movies. It's all prim and proper, but somewhere in his office, behind a hidden panel, is a passageway that takes him to a secret lair where he does all his work. I'm sure it's quite messy down there.
Are you suggesting that Mr. Herring is Batman?
Yes, Dr. Herring is Batman.
Great Scott! But that would mean that Marty Davies is Alfred, the wise and multi-talented butler.
That's about right. Have you ever seen that woman handle a walkie-talkie on Sunday mornings?
It's like an art form.
Mr. President, that just about concludes our time together this afternoon.
Larry, it has been a pleasure. Due to time, we will not be taking any questions. Have a great afternoon and God bless the USA.